first video on this channel. I'm just going to talk about whatever, really. First thing that comes to mind is my childhood. Okay, so the bus stop. There were two kinds of kids. There were the kids that would get dropped off and picked up by their parents at school, and there were the kids that took the bus. I was one of the kids that took the bus. I was lucky enough to go in a small town where there was just one bus, and everyone who rode on the bus rode in one bus, and we were all a close-knit group. You know, it was crazy. You know, there's just a separation of kids, the bus kids, pickup kids. Sometimes I'd miss the bus and my dad would be pissed. He'd always remind me, that was just $8 of gas it took me to drive you to school. Yeah, I never really bought that it was $8 of gas. I mean, school was 20 minutes away, so it very well could have been $8. We drove 2001 Suburban. But that's off topic. Let's talk about the bus stop. So there are two bus stops. The one that I would go to and the one that I would come home to. The one that I got picked up from was right near my house. I'd just wake up in the morning, walk to the bus stop. It was in front of this yoga place. And you know, that was fine. But what I want to talk about is the bus stop when I got home. You see, that bus stop was in the heart of downtown, which in the town that I grew up in meant it was next to the Mountain Mike's Pizza and the bank and the elementary school. And you know, my house wasn't that far. I could have just walked home. But there was this dog, and this dog was mean. You know, it would stop me every time I tried to walk home and give me the straight tail, like start growling and see some hairs stand up. Maybe I was just imagining it, but I felt like this dog was out to get me. So me being the little kid that I was, I insisted that my dad pick me up from the bus stop, which was 5 minutes from my house. Yeah, my dad took his sweet time most days. Some days he'd be there on time, but for the most part, you know, he'd be watching a TV show and he'd wait till the TV show's over. I mean, honestly, that's what I do now, you know? It's like, I'm not gonna not watch 5 minutes of my show. I mean, given he'd be 20, 30 minutes late, sometimes a few hours, but you know, he was doing stuff. But me and my friends, we had some good times at this bus stop. One I like to remember, I remember it fondly. It's not a very fond memory, but I remember it fondly. There was a dead squirrel. It was just sitting on the side of the road. And me and my friends were looking at it. We were disgusted by it. It was pretty gross. And you know, it was on the road, but surprisingly it had not been mutilated. It was just a dead squirrel. So me and my friends do the natural thing. We start throwing rocks at it, seeing who can hit it, right? I have one friend, and he doesn't want to do that. He's like, oh, it's cruel, which is normal, you know, like we were fucking psychopaths to be throwing rocks at a dead animal, but, you know, it's whatever. Anyway, this kid's mom, after he's complaining about not wanting to throw rocks at a dead animal, she rolls up to pick him up, and she runs over the squirrel. And let me tell you, I didn't believe that bodies could be like rolls of toothpaste until I saw that. It was crazy. Like, she rolled onto the squirrel, and then the head just popped. And it was disgusting. Yeah, that kid, he was crying, and his mom opened the door and was like, what's wrong, what's wrong? And then he ran into there, and I was goodbye to him. Yeah, I think he got over it. Anyways, so there weren't only fond memories at this bus stop. There were the bad memories. Like my first bully. My first bully was at that bus stop. He had this weird habit. He wouldn't take the bus, but he would hang out at the bus stop, presumably for some kids to torture or something. Anyway, this guy was a dick. This kid just started throwing dirt clods at me. And for those of you that don't know what dirt clods are, they're just pieces of dirt. I was just sitting there reading my book, then bam, bam. And I grabbed the nearest thing. I thought it was a dirt clod, but it turns out it was a rock. And I threw it and I hit him in the head. And they always say stand up to your bullies, you know, show them that you're not going to be pushed around. And it's worked for me. It's worked for me before. It did not work with this kid. He would say a lot of semi-racist things to me. Like, he threw a peach at me once. And he said, "It's what your ancestors picked." I didn't know. It's not like he was... I didn't get it at all. But I could tell that I was supposed to be offended by it, so that's what offended me. And then one day I just stopped seeing him. He just disappeared. Which, I don't know, maybe I should have been concerned. But I wasn't. I was at this bus stop. There would be some urban legends. And where I lived, urban legends were things like pedophiles. So we used to get these little packets that we would take home with us in middle school, and they would have like information for the parents and stuff like that. One of the flyers that they put one day was that there was a suspicious looking man who was asking people to get into his car. That's about all I heard of that, because I'm pretty sure it was not true. But you know, my dad picked me up on time that week, so that was nice. That was nice. Anyways, so yeah, bus stops, they're more than bus stops. They're places where stories are made, you know? They're places where you meet with your friends after school, get off a hot bus, sit under the shade of a tree at a bus stop, wait for your dad to pick you up. Those were the days. I'm never taking a bus again, I'll tell you that.